Hey, good morning, everyone. Happy Monday. It's 6:15 a.m., March 16th. Prices of Bitcoin currently at 45.44. So what do we have going on for today, folks? And also, exactly how are we going to look at this market in relation to yesterday's news regarding the conference that the president held, as well as the vice president, and they talked about cutting interest rates to zero, also having a $700 billion injection essentially into the economy, right? For the most part, okay, the markets completely ignored that. Okay, as you can see, the US stock futures are already down almost 4.5, 4.7% across the board. You could see all the Asian indexes, okay, over here, and even oil and gold. Everything is down, folks. Everything is starting to feel the effect, and it's going to take a lot more than just cutting interest rates and simply just printing free money to try to fill up, this hole in the economy or global economies at that. Here's a look at how the European markets did today. Okay, so remember it's Monday US morning, but over there it's afternoon or evening time here in Asia. You could see across the board. I mean, it was just complete just slaughter everywhere. Okay, and in my opinion, I don't think the US is going to be exempt from that today. Okay, and so if that means that the US is not going to be exempt from that, what does that mean for Bitcoin? Well, like I've said, if you watch my video for the past few days, okay, remember I do weekend videos too. Sometimes I only do them for Advantage members, but sometimes I'll put up videos on the weekend, let my YouTube watchers know exactly what my thoughts are. And then even over here, we started doing equity videos every Sunday. So you get an outlook of how the previous week closed, as well as what we're looking at for the week ahead. Okay, so you could watch them on our Cryptosomniac channel. Just hit subscribe or hit the thumbs up, and you should start getting notifications. Okay, so in these videos right here, the last few days, okay, I mentioned to you guys that for the most part, what's happening with the coronavirus, first of all, folks, is by far some of the most, unique um, global experiment that we've ever faced. Okay, something that has essentially seized up economies, seized up supply chains, and essentially, closed off companies from essentially, doing anything, and spread so much fear into the people as well as the stock market that it's really uncertain of if the price currently, if we start looking at say the S&P 500, if the price currently even factors in um, what we've priced in so far in terms of the economic downfall. Okay, it's very possible that the market is still trying to price in all the losses that we've incurred, whether it's maybe jobs lost, maybe the oil shock that we just recently had, maybe it's the coronavirus, making people stay home, or maybe layoffs have started. There's all kinds of factors that are coming to fruition, and I really don't think Bitcoin is going to be exempt from that. So I expect today's day in the S&P 500 to be a negative day. And if you've been following, say the traditional markets, especially the SPY or Dow Jones, you will see that there's pretty much a strong correlation between Bitcoin and the S&P 500. They've been moving pretty much toe to toe for the last maybe 2 weeks or so, 2 or 3 weeks. Okay, so I expect today to be no different. All right, I expect, as you can see, the pre-markets are already showing you, the futures showing a strong negative open. All right, and then I'm expecting the S&P 500 to maybe dump 6, 7% today, maybe hit another circuit breaker, and then I would say Bitcoin will follow. So if Bitcoin follows, what do we do? Well, first thing is in our community, folks, we were well prepared from yesterday. I honestly believe that yesterday's conference of the cutting interest rates to zero and then adding that $700 billion little injection wasn't really going to do anything. And so what I did was I simply waited up here and I shorted again right there. I had another stop previously over the weekend, but I got stopped out. But I shorted it here again, and I can show you guys that right now. Okay, So yesterday, as you can see, as we were moving up here, 57.30 or so, I punted a short because I did say that, it seems like the president and global economies are doing whatever it takes to try to fill these debt holes with small band-aids and try to cover them up. But the market is clearly not giving a shit, okay? The markets across the world, all right, see, the thing is, markets like this are far more efficient than something like crypto. They are far more smarter. They have, better way of crunching numbers. They have better way of understanding the sentiment. They have better way of understanding future impact. So when the markets are telling you that even after this kind of, you know, um, risk mitigation strategy from the president and the administration and the government was put in, and if the markets are still showing this, that means the markets are looking for more blood. It's very simple. It's very simple, right? Because the markets are efficient, they'll usually just price in that, okay, well, even after this, we still don't believe that the markets are ready to pop back up. That's essentially what they're saying. And it's become abundantly clear that the hole that we have in the economy, or whatever coronavirus has created in terms of economic turmoil, is really just not enough to just keep cutting interest rates and keep printing cheap money. All right, the smarter players in the markets around the world are starting to realize that, hey, clearly the government doesn't really give a shit about solving the real underlying issues. All they really want to do is patch up this hole and try to fix it as soon as possible without ever fixing what's actually broken. Okay, and the funny thing is, the markets will usually take advantage of that, of the free money in most situations. But what it seems that the markets are doing now is they're recognizing that even this kind of money, even the problems that we have, are not able to be fixed by this. Okay, so the global markets as a whole, folks, are being shaken to the core. They're really being tested, right? Yesterday we saw US oil drop -9% just as it opened. Okay, look at this, right? So this is today's daily still. Actually, it had popped back up for a little bit, but I'm really surprised that it came down again. So here we go, right? Let's check how much it's down. So this is just today's daily, right? It's down already -11%, folks. I mean, oil is down. You already had an oil shock. It's now under 30. Oil has typically, okay, this kind of drop has typically preceded recessions. Why? Because it's a large part of the economy. I think of the US economy, I think it's like 3 to 3.5% of the GDP. Okay. Number two, oil has a big stake in America, whether it's lobbyist influence, whether it's job creation, whether it's just overall influence in America. Okay, it's a big part of America. And if oil is already taking a hit, you're damn sure that we're going to start seeing impact on the economy as a whole. Okay, and Bitcoin is not going to be immune to that. This is what I'm trying to explain to people, is that this drop, folks, when this happened right here, over the last few days, a week ago or so, this completely wrote off Bitcoin in my book as a safe haven asset. Doesn't mean it can't be in the future. It just means now is not the time. Okay, when this drop happened and Bitcoin dropped 45% in a day, and it's down overall from the top to the bottom, it's down almost 66% or so. Okay, that told me right off the bat that this asset is clearly not ready. Okay, and the fact that people are still making arguments about that is downright foolish, right? But here's the thing, you don't have to follow that crowd. You can be smart, and you can either hedge yourself into cash, stablecoin, or you can go short. Okay, again, not investment advice. I'm just letting you know that just because you believe something is potentially the key to solving some of the issues in the world, doesn't mean it will be. The market always determines what is supposed to actually be of value and what is not. Okay, it determines and understands what is efficient and what is not, what is supposed to live and what is supposed to die. Okay, and so the point is that when you look at a market like this, and if you're seeing clear signs of weakness, especially even now, right, it looks like it wants to keep dumping more. It's best to at least consider to yourself that maybe now's not the right time to get back in. Maybe, being delusionally long in this particular scenario is not wise. So the point is that, maybe you can head short, maybe you can consider going into cash or stablecoin, or etc. Okay. Now we went short, like I said yesterday, around 57.50. We've captured almost a $1,200 move, folks, 12 or 1,300 actually, and we're looking pretty good right now, right? I mean, so far our short has massively paid off. Okay, and for the most part, we didn't even trade over the weekend because I knew for the most part the weekends are just garbage moves. They're low volume, they're low liquidity. All right, it's abundantly clear that there's really not a whole lot of interest in the market right now, especially in Bitcoin. And if, say, bigger players in the market, such as maybe Wall Street folks or institutions, were invested in Bitcoin. Sorry, I can't talk. I just woke up about an hour ago. I did my morning routine, and I'm like really excited for the markets because I'm head short in not only Bitcoin, but I have some puts in the stock market. So I'm just, super excited. But anyway, I will try to talk properly. All right. So basically where we are, folks, is that, we broke the larger structure, right? I told you guys we broke the range over here. Okay. And we rejected the bottom of the range right there. Okay. So what we're essentially looking at right now is either a reclaim of this bottom range right here, that's around $5,800, or we fall down further. Now you're probably wondering, how far do we fall down? Okay, so the first thing I've determined is if we start looking at the 15-minute chart here, okay, let's throw on some pivots, right? If we start looking at pivots, okay, if we just look at the S3, S4, and S5 below us, S3 is around 4,075, S4 is around 3,563, and S5 is right around 3,060. Okay, so these are the potential targets that I have laid out for the next 24 hours or the next week, essentially, for my short position. Okay, and I would say with at least 60-70% confidence that this one will hit. I'm not so confident that this one and this one will hit. Maybe it may take longer than expected. Who knows? We might just slowly grind down through the week. But personally, I'm of the opinion that we've already had such a drastic drop, and I really think that there's some large key players in the market that have pretty much left the building. Okay, they've left the building, and I really think that there's another wave of supply of Bitcoin holders who want to go back into cash. Okay, remember that in liquidity crises, such as the one that we're having, whether it's oil or gold or equities, people just want to get in cash. There's no way no one trusts Bitcoin to hold its value for the foreseeable future. So they will sell it at whatever price possible. Okay. And when they sell it, it creates massive drops like this one and this one that you saw over the last week, right? When we saw big drops of 40-50% in a day. That's because people just don't want to touch the asset right now. They just want to get into cash. Cash is king right now. Okay, folks. So with that being said, it's very possible that we pretty much hit all these three targets down here, maybe in the next 24 hours, if things do start selling off aggressively. In the next 3 hours, the US market's open. And I'm going to update my community in exactly how I see the markets. Faisal, our equities analyst, is going to provide live equity updates. Like I said, we did this video yesterday. This was a clear way of Advantage members being able to see what is up for the week ahead, because we looked at all the market data. We looked at pre-market, we looked at after hours, we looked at everything to determine that today and this week is probably not going to be, a green week that people might be expecting. Okay. So the fact of the matter is, folks, just be careful in this market. Okay. Look for these areas. If you're thinking about shorting, look for these areas. And if you really think you want to go long, maybe also look for these areas for potential longs. Okay. As per the daily, I think the pivots get really interesting on the daily, because as per the daily pivot, the S5, the final S5 is around 29.50. And I'd be taking a large position or a large portion of my position off of my short right there. Okay, so those are kind of my thoughts, going for the day ahead. All right, I think things are going to get really interesting. I really think that the markets are unprepared, especially things like Bitcoin, for what lies ahead. And I think there's going to be a lot of money making opportunities. And again, folks, in our Advantage community, starting April, we're going to open Forex analysis, options, and oil. So we're going to have plenty of markets to trade, and this volatility, I think, will last a few months at least. So it's going to be fantastic to trade this market. And I'm really excited. So anyway, I hope you guys come join. Give me a thumbs up. Leave me a comment of your thoughts. And I will catch up with y'all soon. All right. Trade safe, set your stops properly, and take care of yourself. All right. Cheers.